Hi everybody, welcome to our first Reverse the Verse Town Hall live from Cologne, Germany. Well, that's power. All right. We're going to do things a little differently. If you haven't watched the ship shape that was released earlier today on YouTube, pause this, watch that ship shape first, and then come back to this. Well, wait. We just had a wonderful tour done live in KeyShop by our own Sarah McCullough, and let's just get right to the live question and answer. I want to start by introducing our esteemed panel of guests. Immediately to my right, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen?
My name is Sarah McCullough. I'm a concept artist at Foundry 42. I do everything from ship items, ship weapons, ship interiors, and now a full-size ship.
What are some of the ships you've worked on in the past?
Well, I've actually just done the Starlifter, so I did the bomb modules for the Starlifter, so I did all that module, I did the gunning pods, and I've also helped out with the Starfarer in the past as well. I did the engine room for it also, so...
Have you worked on a ship that didn't start with the word star? Starfarer, Starlifter, Star Runner?
That's actually a good point, actually. I think, no. I think I might have actually worked on, I helped with some part of the Terrapin as well. I did a couple of the concept pieces that you've seen as well. Right. So I think that, yeah, I think there's a few, but I've actually got a track record of working on stuff called Star, so.
Right. Immediately to your right, probably a person that needs no introduction to these things, but we're gonna do it anyway. John, tell us who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
My name's John Kerr. I'm the Vehicle Pipeline Director at Foundry 42. So that's basically just wrangling all the ships and vehicles in the game from a one-line sentence brief given by Chris, through concept, through production, through post-release, through bug fixing, everything for all the ships and vehicles in the game, which is a lot of ships and vehicles in the game.
Yes, the last time I counted 126. That might be off by one or two at this point. 126 ships, vehicles, and their variants that have been made available to pledge for the Star Citizen community, and that's just the ones we've told you about. So finally, last but certainly not least, Dan, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do for Star Citizen?
Hi guys, I'm Dan Truffin. I'm the lead system designer in Frankfurt, in Foundry 42 Frankfurt. And I lead a bunch of guys that try to make the game as fun as possible.
All right. Now, like I said, we just watched the ship shape and we just did our tour. So we're going to take what time we have left and we are going to jump right into questions live from those of us here in the Brauhaus Unnamen in Cologne, Germany. And we are joined today by special guest Ulf, our senior community manager. Let's get Ulf on camera there. Hi, Ulf.
Hi, Jared. How you doing?
How you doing? Is your microphone working?
I hope it is. Is it?
Yeah. How's it working? Okay,
perfect.
We are set. We're getting the okay from Christian. Let's start with our first community question.
Right. We got a first question right here. So let us know what your name is and then ask your question.
And go and stand up. When you do the question, let's go ahead and stand up. To the
Hi, I'm F Prefect, and I have one question about smuggling. Can I smuggle people in the compartment, or will they suffocate?
So the question was, can I smuggle people in the compartment, or will they suffocate? Is the smuggling? He's obviously asking about you're asking about the smuggling compartments that were underneath the ship. Are those atmosphere? Are those pressurized? They have atmosphere?
Yeah, they're pressurized. You could smuggle a willing person in there. They're to SEU metrics, so you're going to have to encourage them into various shapes to get in there. But it is pressurized. It does have atmosphere. It's not comfortable, but technically yes.
Gotcha. Well, now let's go into a little more detail about those smuggling compartments themselves. What makes them smuggling compartments? Is it just that they're hidden underneath and hard to find? Is there some kind of special shielding in place? Tell us about the compartments.
The compartments mainly for if you've got contraband. I see them as like lock boxes, so I can imagine they would have some sort of like lock system on them, and maybe you could grab them or even like break into them or something like that. Something like that. So that's the way that you know I saw them. Because it was something that I really wanted with the ship. It was like this little cool little hidden section where you could go and find this almost like treasure. Like, and also, as I say, like just hide whatever you wanted or what you thought was precious, and it also coaxes people down into there, and you can trap them, essentially. So.
Okay. Is that what those compartments were designed for originally?
Trap.
Not specifically for trapping people.
No, but it's just a part of the element that because you have to go down there, there is that aspect now. It's kind of like bait. That's what I see them as well. As like it's very tempting to go in there, and there's always the element of, as I say, getting trapped down there. So
You have a dark side, Sarah. You have a dark side. Those compartments is the only purpose for them to store cargo, or is there component access down there? When they were designed by Crusader Industries, what was their purpose?
There is like separate component access down there. They don't share the same space, so it's not a either or. They are essentially their own little mini cargo grids. So you have your main cargo section. That's your manifested legitimate cargo. These aren't registered specifically on that. So when you scan it and ship, that cargo grid, the big cargo grid, is what gets scanned first, and then all these other things are just. If you've got a really good scanner, or you're going to spend the time scanning, you'll probably find them, but you're not going to know what they are.
And then we really want to also offer the smuggler the possibility to upgrade the shielding on those compartments. So the more you'll advance in the game, you'll be able to probably afford better shielding for these, which means less chances of getting discovered, which will automatically get you trying to do more risky stuff, where people have a better scanner, and it's a constant race of how you shield versus how you get scanned, and it will be up to you to make sure you don't get discovered. There were one of the ideas that we had when we were talking to Chris was that once you land, there will be customs inspections. Think about it, again, the famous Millennium Falcon landing, and you do get the stormtroopers doing a customs tour through it, trying to figure out, hey, is there something hidden in here? You might have it there, they might find it, they might not, based on how good your shielding is. You might have someone hidden there that basically, as the guards come this way, they go down and they come behind the guards and run out, and they're never discovered.
Shell game.
So it's all up to you guys and how much your imagination, what are the limits, basically. And about what you were saying about this was not designed for certain things. We like it when people do stuff that sometimes we don't like it when people do crazy things, but in generally we like it when you guys discover new things that maybe we didn't think about, and then we can expand on those and make the game better, because there's a new type of gameplay now.
Ulf, you got another question?
Of course
for
I
us?
do.
Going to stand up?
Hi, I'm Daniel. So the ship is all about smuggling, but when I get scanned or something else, how can I hide this, or can I hide my ship maybe? Is there
Some self-defense.
yeah, some self-defense, or what weapons do I have to hide my smuggling department?
So hiding your smuggling compartment, I mean, it's going to be shielded, so the chances depends how close the scanning ship is and how good they are, how good their scanner is. So you will have a fairly high chance of not getting whatever's put in those compartments discovered. So you might have big boxes of potatoes in your cargo, but in a small compartment hidden underneath, in a shielded compartment, you're carrying drugs. Now, the more potatoes you have, the higher the chances they won't find the drugs. If you're only carrying the drugs and that's the only thing to scan, and the guy comes really close to you and you let him do that, yes, they will find you. Again, if you're trying to constantly avoid customs and go obviously constantly outrun them, they might figure out something's wrong and they might stop you. They might order you to stop or get shot. And then you might get boarded, they might come on board, and the same operation happens where you might get someone to come downstairs, pick up the drugs from this location and hide them in a different one. Because the customs will come because they detected them in this location. And we try to make the ship in such a way where all these passages allow you this gameplay of, if the guard comes from here, I can come in here and exit on the other side, and it has these loops.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I can't remember how many specifically, like how many of these smuggling spots are there, but you don't have to fill them all. Like, if you fill them all, as soon as someone goes down there, they're going to find it and go, well, they're obviously doing something. If you just fill one of them, they can go down, they could spend 5 minutes going around there and not find anything. And
They will give up eventually.
yeah.
So yeah, it's good to smuggle something small, very valuable, rather than a lot of stuff that's medium value.
I'm sure people will try all kinds of stuff. And I know you were using potatoes as a joke, but if there are potatoes in the game, somebody will try it and they'll be like, damn, look at me, I got potatoes.
Now, can you put drugs inside the potatoes?
You just want French fries, right? We get some Palms fries for Dan. Ulf, who you got?
I got another question, Jared.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sauer, and I wanted to know, is there an estimate of actually how much SCU you will be able to smuggle in these smuggle compartments?
That's a good question. When the stats page goes up, because everybody likes the stats, do the stats include the smuggling space?
No, the stats on the stats page is going to say 96 SCU. That is just for the rear cargo bay. It does not include the smuggling.
It's about the size of like 1 by 1. So
Yeah.
it's whatever you can like, and there's 3 of them because what Dan was saying, like when you go down into cargo, one of the vents is literally a dead end. So you have to go and find this smuggled bay. But yeah, it's like about 1 by 1 size. So there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then it's just whatever you fit inside this.
It's not a big smuggling ship. It's a cargo ship and a data runner that you can do a little bit of smuggling with if you so choose. It's not the be-all and end-all of smuggling ships.
Yeah, you've got an option to be naughty if you want to, basically.
Yeah, because a manufacturer wouldn't outright make a smuggling ship. That's what Drake gets accused of doing all the time. And Drake's not that bad.
It's optional storage.
It's optional storage.
Yeah, just optional storage.
All right. You got another one for us all?
Yeah, coming right up.
Hi, I'm Shakes. The weapon hardpoints seem to be pretty small compared to other ships in that size category, like the Constellation. Why is that?
Yeah, they are intentionally small because it's not designed to fight. Like, not every ship is a dogfighter in the game as much as everyone wants their ship to be the best dogfighter. This is, compared to the other ships in its size class, so like the Freelancer, Constellation, it is one of the fastest ones amongst them, so it relies on its speed and agility, not being able to shoot its way out of the situation like the Constellation can with its size 5 mounts and 1 million missiles on it.
Yeah, well, one of the things the Constellation gets referred to as space superiority, since it was, it's meant to be a kind of a step above others in that class.
The Freelancer is a good comparison. Like, it has 66 SCU, so it's got less cargo, it's got better guns, got better armor. Freelancer Max has got more cargo than this, same guns. So if you want to just do cargo running, day in, day out, Freelancer Max is good. If you want to mix it up, that's good.
You keep comparing it to the Freelancer, and I want to put you on the spot here, Present. In your ship shape interviews, you threw some shade at Freelancer owners, and you disparaged the look of their ship a little bit. You want to apologize to Freelancer owners?
Nope.
I tried, guys. All right. Ulf, what you got for us?
One.
Yeah, I'm Ivan. I've got a question just about actually the process for designing a ship. So how you go about designing a ship, say, for data running, when it's yet to be implemented and there isn't maybe the best idea of how that's going to work yet, and avoiding, a concept that's leading to a lot of feature creep. How do we constrain that, and how do you end up with something that works?
Well, that's something we never think about, is it? I was going to see which one of you wants it.
Yeah, this is one of the things that's always between the ship pipeline and the system designers. Generally, they get to be a lot faster than we are, and that's when we get into situations like you mentioned. But we tend to, even if we're not ready with the system, with a full finished system and tested and fun to play, we still have a pretty rough idea of how we want the gameplay to be. So there are systems that we have not written yet parts of the code for them, but we know, it's going to work like this, like this, like this, and everyone kind of agrees, that makes perfect sense, and it's a good idea that we will implement in the future. We know it's coming, So they can already start going like, we can start establishing metrics for all these boxes, and we can start figuring out what distances do we want certain types of gameplay to happen at, and then they can start, okay, we need these distances in the ship, we need that much space for certain cargo or data storage, and then they can start building accordingly. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I wish we had a bit more resources to start making the gameplay and testing it and being fun, and then doing this part. But since this is the resources we have, then we go ahead and we try to make it as close as possible. There obviously are adjustments. It doesn't stay as we originally thought, but we're getting pretty good at making estimations and getting as close to final, even before the systems get tested. A very good example of this was the mining ship, the Prospector. So the ship was pretty much completed way before we had even a line of code written for mining. We experimented with it, and there were a few adjustments that we had to do in how the mining arm functions and where you can point it at and stuff like this. But eventually the ship pretty much stayed the same. We're talking a 1% change in the ship compared to rebuilding the entire ship from scratch, which is what we don't want to do, obviously.
Yeah, when we're in that situation where the ship is quite far ahead of perhaps the full implementation of something, we spend a lot of time between like Todd, Dan, Tony, Chris, like hours and hours of meetings to just flesh out that design in our heads and go, right, we could go this way with it, we could go that way with it, we could go this way with it, but they all have these common points in the design. So for the ship side, we'll build around those common points, and if it's something that is like, well, we'll go with that for now, but it might have to change from, like, if it's a machine that does this, but actually it's going to be changed to a machine that functions like that, we'll make that room in the ship easily enough like to be swapped out one for another, so we don't have to build. We very rarely try and build a ship around a single feature that is so unknown that it could result in the entire ship being wasted. So we always we do a lot of design prep work, and then we try and sort of bank areas where we can just to future-proof it.
Yeah. All right, Alp, what you got?
There's another one.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Michel Rovinski. I'm from Uppsala, Sweden, and in the walkthrough we saw a chessboard patterned table, and I was wondering what kind of gameplay will be around that, or if we can even play some kind of hologram game on it.
So the virtual chess table, what can you tell us about that?
Well, it was, I wanted to like obviously have like a break room in this ship, so I wanted some sort of element of just, you know, you're sitting off and you're relaxing and playing some chess, and we was thinking of like this hollow chess, and as I say, Chris actually mentioned about having this hollow chess as well, so we were talking backwards and forwards about it. This is how it came up, was we could implement this little hollow chess game and stuff, like you can just sit off with your friends and just, you know, play a game of chess. But it also the actual hollow button in the middle, once pressed, goes into the floor and then splits in half, and then you see the ventilation system underneath, which you can then escape into. So it's kind of like a multi-functional table, really. So not only is this cool little bit of chess that you can, you know, chill out with your friends, but it also gives you a bit of an escape point as well, which is what Chris wanted, and I thought it was really cool. It's that bit where, I say, they go down into again to reference Millennium Falcon, but it just goes down to fix the hyperdrive. It was just like that little element, and you get to see all the guts of the ship as well, which is cool. But yeah.
I remember I can't remember which of the when we do ship concepts, we have like multiple gate reviews to get everyone, all the departments that are going to work on or are working on this ship are going to work on this ship to sign off on it. So nothing crazy comes from art, like this ship's going to be all tank treads so it can roll in any direction and animation go mad. And as soon as we saw that chess table come up, we were like, that's going to be one of the questions. If it's not in the Q&A, someone's going to ask us that. And Chris talked at great length about how when you're doing these huge quantum travel, you saw it at CitizenCon last year, where we did the quantum travel from Artcourt to Hurston, how long that was. That was enough time to put another demo inside that quantum travel.
And that was just 2 planets in the same system.
Yeah. Chris wants all these little mini games for you to do to pass the time, because there's big amounts of time that you're going to spend just in quantum travel, and you're probably not going to want to sit just in your pilot seat for that entire time, just sitting there going, well, I'll wait, or I might just sit here and just in case I get interdicted, you're going to want to get out of your seat and go do stuff around your ship. So all these little sort of mini features are things that he wants to have just there for you to pass the time with.
So is that you confirming that we're actually going to have a playable chess game?
I'm confirming you're going to have a playable something.
Might look like
Might
chess?
look like chess. Can't guarantee it'll be a one-to-one recreation of chess.
All right. Who you got, Elf?
Here's another question from Dennis.
Yes, hi, my name is Dennis, and my question is, the ship, the storage room itself, did it have a special security system or locking system? For example, when the ship is conquered, that they just came in, opened the door, get my stuff, so they had a little, a little safe to open or something like that, a mini game or something like that.
So if you're talking about the smuggler compartment or the normal cargo?
No, the smuggler compartment.
Okay, the smuggler compartment, it will be up to you what smuggler compartment you get there. And if you get one that has extra locking security, yes, it will be harder to open. Eventually, if the guy is good enough at hacking, there will be a hacking mini game through which you can open doors, locks, any kind of security. Now, if you're talking about the big cargo that you can carry in the back, that is just exposed and people can just pick it up.
Who you got, Elf?
All right.
Hello, my name is Boris. I have 2 questions about info running. The first question is, can the Mercury send the infos to other ships? Maybe have the same computer size? And the second is, can this ship, maybe a Carrack, decrypt this info?
Did you just use this as an opportunity to bring the Carrack into this?
Yes. No.
There's always one.
You thought I was joking about this. I said before, somebody's going to use their question to slip in a Carrack thing. Here. This is you. I had a prize here. You won a prize. There you go. Now, unfortunately, we've delayed the development of the Carrack another 6 months because of that. So, all right. I don't remember the question anymore.
It was, can the Mercury transfer
The
data
first question
between?
is, can the Mercury send the info data to other ships with a similar size or a bigger size of computers? And can these ships decrypt the data like the Mercury can?
Okay, so essentially any ship can send data to another ship. It might be at a very basic level, and you can send all the data that you have to another ship. You can share coordinates, share discoveries, whatever, but it's going to take a while. If you're sending it between an Argo and a Reliant or something, they're not designed for that sort of communication. These ships, the Herald, the Mercury, any of the big cap ships that focus on data, they're designed for it's like bandwidth. Rather than having 56K modem sending stuff, you've got fiber. So they can send it a lot better. Quantum fiber. Encryption was that yeah, encryption is sort of locked to specific hardware in the ship. So if your ship has it, you can encrypt it. The ship at the other end will need the equivalent hardware to do that. Not all of them have it. Whether the Carrack has it, too early to say in terms of. It's got enough stuff on it already.
But you have a notepad to hold you over now. All right, Ulf, what you got?
Another one coming up. Hello, my name is Chris. Can the Mercury attach with magnetic clamps to other ships to hide itself? To bigger ships, like capital ships or something?
Can the Mercury attach to bigger ships to hide?
Yeah. Land on the surface and go unnoticed.
You're referring to when the Millennium Falcon in Empire Strikes Back attaches itself to the back of the Star Destroyer. That sounds like a systems design
Yeah,
question.
no, I mean, if that ever happens, we don't have it yet planned, but if that ever happens, it will be a thing that's not specific to the Mercury. It has to be something that not each ship can do, but each ship equipped with a certain device will be able to clamp to other ships. But nothing yet, sorry.
You got another one for us, Olf?
Yes, we do. Hello, my name is Thomas. So just to take the reference to the Millennium Falcon again, the reason the guards don't find the cargo is because it is a unique ship. So they don't know to search underneath the floors for the smuggling goods. The Mercury is probably going to be a ship in hundreds of them. It is a standard ship with a standard layout, so you should expect that every guard at every spaceport knows that when the Mercury lands, there are smuggling departments down there. I know you've talked about moving the smuggling goods around, depending where the guards move, but in the AI, are you going to program so that they don't necessarily know the layout of each ship?
I had that question. There you go. Thank you. All right, what you guys got? What you got, guys?
So regarding the AI being programmed to search this, we're gonna have to have the AI play a bit dumb, as a stormtrooper is, more or less. There will be a series of places to hide. You might get a stormtrooper that knows 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, 2 out of 3, something like this. You might get the super smart stormtrooper that knows all of them, and that's when you have to move your cargo while they're trying to get to it. So it's up to you kind of figure out who you're dealing with, how experienced they are. Are they like a stormtrooper captain? Then you might want to manually move your stuff. If they're like a grunt soldier, then maybe it's enough. You risk it. It might be that they know exactly that one that you're going for. Or one thing that they might choose, the place they search is through scanning. If their scanner says, here is something hidden, they will search that. But they might not find the other hidden spot. So it's up to you to figure out, oh, they're going for that one, quickly move it to that one, and hopefully they only check one of them, and you're free. If they check all of them, then you better carry it and run with it and hope they don't see you.
It's one of the persistent challenges in the development of a game of this size and scope is our desire to make it as immersive and as diegetic to our real world experience as possible, but at the same time to pull some things back a little bit, because this is a video game, and you need to.
There's a level of suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. So this is one of those things that falls right in that kind of gray area between those two.
One other thing would be that, let's say you do get discovered and it's Mr. Super Captain that knows the layout of every ship. You might be able to bribe him. So there are other options. You might be able to shoot him in the head and run away, make a run for it. That is an option. That's why we like to open up all these avenues and you guys choose the one you want. Each of them will have the risks and consequences, so you have to choose wisely.
Trap him in there.
Yeah, trap him in there, hide him in there, put him in a freezer, carbonite.
Yeah. Or you can trap him down in the catacombs, like Sarah's just said again.
Sell him to Jabba.
All right, dark. Hi, Elf.
Jared, how you doing? John, my question is about the main focus of the ship is data collection, if I understand correctly.
Data running.
Data running.
Yeah. Oh, so it's not for data collection.
It's got to get the data somehow, so it can collect data.
Okay. So I understand, as far as the AI is concerned, with scripted AI, you can collect data with them, but versus other players, and maybe it's beyond the scope of the question for the ship, but how do you incentivize players to use the data in-game to store information in-game, to use communications in-game to allow a ship to be able to collect this type of information, to intercept this type of information from them?
So incentivizing players versus just doing AI to do it, essentially. Yeah.
I understand, like, there's a specific purpose against AI, against the NPCs, but if you wanted to use a ship versus other players, is that a possibility, or?
Yeah, it's players, provided they're somewhat competent, should always be more than a match for NPCs. You can always hire. That AI can just go beyond what players can do if we wanted to, but that's a big level investment in terms of hiring people or bribing people on the other end of it to sort of offset that. So I don't know where I'm going now.
Yeah. Also, so I think what you're asking there is, will you be able to acquire data from another player, as in scan them and find out where their weaknesses are? Yes. Yes. So let's say you get someone who's trying to send a transmission. He just found the richest mining field in the history of the UE, and he's trying to sell the data to another guy. They're starting the data transmission. If you are there, you're stealthy, no one notices you, you might be able to acquire the same transmission, the same data, and sell it to someone else.
All right. Got another question right here.
Hi, I'm Chris. I have 3 questions. Number 1. Wait for it. They're short. They're short. Number 1, what is the official explanation for the existence of these compartments? Because I don't think that you find a ship maker who builds a ship for smuggling.
We said that early on. We said that early on.
Number 1, no, you didn't. I didn't hear it. Number 2, will we be able to add similar compartments to existing ships? And number 3, will we see similar setups like these compartments in yet to come ships like the Carrack? Sorry.
He didn't tell me about the characters. I'm sorry.
He beat me to it.
Come here. Come here. No. Come here. Come here. Come here. No. All right. All right. So, in order, what is the official purpose of these compartments?
Officially, they're a great place to store spare items. So every ship needs storage. You don't want to be, if you're going on a long trip, your items are going to be wearing out, so you might want to have spare items.
Coolers, your power plants.
You've got sub-items, fuses, whatever. These things are all going to slowly decay over time.
And you don't want them to take up your cargo space.
Yeah, you don't want to fill your cargo space with all the stuff you need to get there. So lots of ships actually have these extra areas. The Hammerhead and like the Idris is a good one. We have these like in the big circular corridors you see in the Aegis ships. They've got these doors that go whoosh, like that. They go into essentially store cupboards where it's just racks of storage space for storing stuff. It's technically a cargo grid, but it's not a cargo grid for storing cargo in it. If you went to buy cargo, it wouldn't go in there. It's for you to put these spares in. The difference on the Star Runner is they are more shielded than, say, on a Hammerhead, where they're just a closet to put stuff in. So that's why they're there.
Okay. The second question was, will you be able to add components like this after the fact to other ships?
Probably not, unless it's in the instance where you're swapping. We provide multiple room options for a ship.
Maybe something like the Retaliator that had multiple internal rooms.
Yeah, modular room system is something that we would use to do this, because it is, whilst people think, oh, it's just adding a 1.25 meter cube into a wall, there is a lot more work that has to be done to do that. You're essentially doubling the art costs, doubling the time, doubling the testing, doubling performance and space on your disk for this sort of stuff. So if we want that behavior in the ship, we will have built it in from the start or provided a swappable room for that. So if your ship doesn't have a swappable room, or we've not said it, it's probably not going to have that sort of functionality.
And the third question was, do we see ourselves adding more ships with this sort of functionality in the future?
some ships, like I said, the bigger ships where you're going to be out spending lots of time are going to have these areas for storing stuff in. What you put in them is up to you, but they might not all be suitable for putting crates of Widow in or whatever.
What's up? Let me guess. You've got 4 questions. No, I'm just kidding.
He specifically told me it's not about a carrick.
Yeah, it's not about a carrick. My name is Sebastian. My question is, I have the lore of Coverlex in mind, where they talk about some toxic waste, where you can smuggle goods in the waste. So I'm not talking about smuggling compartments, but smuggling goods in the cargo. Will this be possible, and will there be specific goods you can only smuggle in specific waste, earth, dirt, whatever?
One of the talking points that have been a part of Star Citizen's development almost from the very beginning, we're talking, these were in early conversations back in like the old Wingman's hangar days, was the ability to have cargo crates that they themselves could obscure what was inside. In the example he's using with the Kovalex story was the crate looks like toxic waste, so nobody would think to look inside it, but inside is not actually toxic waste, it's something else.
So we definitely want to do this. It's an easy win for us because the crate is already done. We just need to take the functionality that we built for these boxes and move it into this, which is not that much of a big deal. But what you have to remember is if you have customs coming onto your ship and your cargo hold is this room, they're going to find it. So they're not probably, when they scan your ship from a distance, the chances are they might not find it, but if you actually get an inspection on board, you better have a proper smuggling ship with proper hiding places. So there will be, it's like smuggling light. So yeah, there has to be a downside. It's the cheaper version.
Yeah, when the Hull C was first introduced, one of the tenets was that you could get cargo crates that would appear to be one thing, but actually house another thing inside them. And that way, even a ship like the Hull C that stores its cargo on the outside for all to see could actually still be used for the purposes of smuggling. So, hi. Here you go.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Stefan. The question is, aside from the Millennium Falcon you already mentioned in ship shape as a big inspiration, what other inspirations did you take from sci-fi ships or actual like crafts in real world, or is that something you didn't really look at all?
Well, I've always been a really huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, so I actually looked at a few of those ships as well in terms of the detailing and also Star Trek as well, because the Enterprise is quite smooth and things like that. So I was looking at all these, and also the stealth bombers that the military use as well. So I have a big, massive reference board on my PC that I just grab all these images from and just put them over there. And as I say, like this is like I just had that, and we also had the model as well of like. Well, actually, I have the SR2 Normandy as well on my desk, which is again another huge inspiration. The Tempest as well I have, and I've just got all this. I just like to surround myself with spaceships. Yeah, and also, as I say, I was a huge fan of Wipeout back in the day as well. So I looked at all of them, and I've just like to surround myself as much as possible with sci-fi and military goodness.
That's a very common thing. I've had these conversations with a lot of concept artists over the last couple of years, and one of the common threads is that everybody from every project brings their personal inspirations to everything that they work on. It's very easy to hear something like, oh, it's inspired by the Millennium Falcon, and draw a line and go, oh, well, they're just copying that. You look at this, you don't see the Millennium Falcon right away, but the influences are in the way that they shape our instincts and the way that they shape the things that we like and dislike and stuff. And even though you don't draw a line from this directly to something like the Falcon or the Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that, when you hear that and you talk to artists like yourself, you start to see those connections. You start to see how they've shaped your tastes.
Yeah, it was just something I always wanted to do when I grew up, was make spaceships. So and especially when I was like making this, I was just all the ships that I grew up with. you know, have hugely influenced me throughout my, you know, entire life. So it's really cool to actually get to be able to make them now, and it's fab.
Yeah, you might be surprised to hear that Nathan Dearsley was influenced by the Alien series. That might be a surprise to people. Hi, Nate. Hi, Nate. Hey, Alf, who you got?
I got another question right here.
Yeah, my name is Jürgen, and I would have a question for smuggling. Is it possible to lay out, say, electronic baits to make it look like you're smuggling something there, so you can bait the guards to go over there?
So I
just heard Sarah get excited there. Yes, lure them in and trap them.
So I see this working very well, where you would basically waste their time and they would give up at some point. So after, it depends on how we configure our AI. They might have, let's say they have to do 3 searches in 3 random spots. If 2 of those searches happen to be a decoy, as in you take a crate of bananas, potatoes are exhausted now. So you take a crate of bananas, put one of these decoys inside, and it looks like you have something there. If they waste time there, they probably won't bother to finish the rest of the ship, and they'll go, we give up, we go out. So, but that will be costly. That you will have to purchase one of these devices. It'll probably be a one-use only device. It won't run forever, so you can use it every time you get an inspection. So you'll have to put it there before you get an inspection, so you might use it, and you don't get an inspection and you wasted the device. So there will be risk rewards. We always want to introduce this risk reward thing. We don't want to, I know you guys like to get something for free, but it's always a lot more enticing if you might lose it. Then it's like, do I get it? Do I not get it? Do I get caught? Do I not get caught? So there needs to be a risk.
Yeah. You mentioned the decoys, and I was instantly thinking, you know, instead of 1-star runner, a small group of 3-star runners. One's actually got the smuggled gear, and the other 2 have the decoy stuff. You know, and you're playing a shell game with security as you're trying to run through a blockade. You know, they got a 1 in 3 chance of stopping whoever actually has the goods, and the other 2 are like, I don't know what you detected. There's nothing here. See? So it's an interesting idea. I like it. Here you got Alf.
You might remember Thomas. He already had one.
So, the current gameplay is that when you travel to a city, you have to...
Oh my gosh! You probably can't see it on the camera, but it's trying to do Windows updates.
Current gameplay is that when we want to visit a city, we have to go to a spaceport where we land and we go to custom. Would it be possible to land our spaceship outside the city, take our smuggling goods, carry them inside to the city, and then avoid custom and guards and everything?
Yes, yes and no, actually. Yes, you'll be able to do it, but avoiding guards is a matter for your own skill. It doesn't come free. You better be good at it. I'll give you an example with how we're kind of building Lorville right now. There's a main custom security checkpoint. It's very, very hard to pass something illegal through there. You better have either good luck or state-of-the-art equipment. Very hard. But if you want to do it, you can always come in through the outskirts. You land on the planet, you take a vehicle all the way to the outskirt entrances. There is security, but they're a bit more lax. You don't have to go through all the X-ray scanners and all this stuff. So there are guys patrolling with a handheld scanner. If they see you and they scan you, they will probably get you. But if you manage to avoid them or find another way in, then you're good to go. But again, if you find another way in, let's say there's a service hatch open at a certain time of day and you go through it and you bypass the security, consider the fact other people might have found it and they're waiting for you to see what you're bringing through there. So there's, again, risk reward, and if you're good at it, you get the reward. If you're not, sorry.
For every player that's out there that wants to do all this smuggling, there's another one that wants to be the person to stop you doing that. And they're going to be learning the same tricks as you are, and we'll let you go at it.
All right, Alf, who you got?
Okay, hi, my name is Benjamin, and yeah, my question is, Drake does have a pretty bad reputation because of who buy their ships. Do you think there will be an impact on Crusader's image? because of that new ship?
Well, I'm very familiar with Crusader Industries' marketing department, and they're wonderful people. They're wonderful people, and I think they'll be just fine. No, I don't know. I think that's a.
It's a cargo running and data running ship. Those are its primary function.
I mean, Crusader has only introduced 3 ships that we know of to the Star Citizen community. The original Genesis Starliner, the recent Hercules Starlifter, and now the Starrunner. The Starlifter and the Starliner are pretty above the board ships. You know, not for the criminal element.
You could have a Starlifter and just fill it full of drugs if you wanted to. It'd be a pretty good drug ship.
This entire panel is very dark. But no, I think their rep's probably okay. But you know, we'll see what happens with the next couple of ships they introduce. We had Brian waving. Hi guys. This is a good time to say, can we get a shot of them right there? We have been at capacity. We've got Star Citizen backers outside who just waiting for us to open the doors and start the party. So we're actually going to take just a couple more questions and wrap this up. Ulf, what you got?
Okay, when I do shady things, I don't want everybody to know, so nice. Is the Mercury more designed to play solo, or is it better designed to bring your 1, 2, 3 furry co-pilots who fix the hyperdrive and man the turrets?
We need at least 1 Tavaran co-pilot. All right, now.
Yeah, so there's there's 3 people that run it. So yeah, you've got obviously your pilot, co-pilot, and then obviously whoever's doing your maintenance and making sure that all your goods are getting hidden and distributed around the ship correctly. And also you can also trick someone as well, because they might not necessarily think that there's 3 people aboard, and there's someone just waiting in the event. I think to say again, but the ventilation system, moving stuff about. And you can be like, oh no, well there's only me and my co-pilot on the ship, but they haven't declared this 3rd person that's also aboard the ship. But you can have up to 3 people on the ship, so you can trick people.
But that being said, if you want to run it on your own, you can do it. If you get into trouble, you're probably not going to be that efficient. But I mean, there's power in numbers. It's again, 1 can hide the cargo, 1 can take the co-pilot, 1 can shoot the turrets, 1 can fly. It's better if there's more people, but then again, you have to split the gain, which is a problem always. But yeah, I see benefits of both. You can do solo, you can do multi-crew. Yeah.
Right, Jared, we got a classic coming up.
Hi, most important question. What will fit in vehicles, land vehicles?
Yeah, what ships fit inside the Starlifter? Any? Yeah.
Vehicles.
I'm actually impressed you waited that long.
Yeah.
Hold on. The actions of Jared Huckabee do not reflect those of Cloud Imperium Games, Robert Space Industries, or its subsidiaries. All right.
Okay, so it does have a cargo ramp on the back. It's at a pleasant angle for driving, unlike some ships, so you'll be able to get the bikes in, so your Dragonflies, Noxes, X1s, those all go in. Pretty sure the Grey Cat goes in there. Grey Cat loves going in ships like this sort of thing. It's not big enough for the Cyclone or the Rover.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
So the Grey Cat PTV is sort of your maximum comfortable size to get anything in terms of width and height. Bikes, no problem.
Oh, there you are.
My name is Patrick. I want to ask if it's possible to drop the cargo immediately or the information with a single button to run, or other way to act unforeseen, like carrying bombs and drop them in front of the other ships.
Do you want to drop your cargo at the first sight of Imperial entanglement?
Bananas on the front of the other.
Data-wise, it's got the same sort of technology as the Herald has, so you've got your 1 button, wipe everything. Cargo, that's, well, the main...
Open the back door, tilt up?
Yeah, main cargo bay is just a normal cargo bay, and there isn't any special chutes unless you've snuck some in.
No sneaky shoots.
Could you depressurize?
The information stored on the computer. Any button just...
There's the one button, just wipe everything. I've got nothing here.
Could you depressurize a cargo bay and let everything scoot out?
There is an airlock, so I'll go back.
So that wouldn't be unique to the Starware?
No, any ship that has, which is pretty much all of them, pressurized cargo bays, provided you've got a door between you and the cargo bay, you will be able to open that back door, it's going to depressurize, turn off the power on the grid, all that cargo's loose.
When is that happening? Because I want to see the first person killed by depressurized cargo.
I think we actually showed a video of it, like a work in progress one.
Yeah, we showed a work in progress on RTV a couple weeks ago when Chris was on.
Yeah.
All right, we have got time for two more questions.
Right, number one coming up.
Hi there, I'm Andrew. In terms of the hollow chessboard, should we let the Wookiee win?
Awesome.
It's your chessboard.
Yeah, I feel like that's a question for the lore team. Dave! He's on the other side of the planet.
I was going to say, I didn't hear the question fully.
With the virtual chess, do you recommend letting the Wookiee win? That's a hard sentence to say. Recommend letting the Wookiee win.
It'd probably be a really good idea. You don't want an angry Wookiee.
What's the Wookiee in this analogy? Is that a Vandal? Is that a Tabaran?
Banu.
Banu.
Is it Banu?
I think it's Banu.
So Banu
Yeah.
is the Wookiee in this? All right, let's see if I just made Will and Dave really angry. I'm gonna get my phone's gonna have an email. It's like the Banu are not Wookiees. Sorry, Dave. All right.
Another question. From the mechanics for the data running, is there something figured out yet? Like how do we get the data in? How do we get it out? Just like physically bringing in the data, or is it sent over airwaves, stuff like that? How does electronic warfare figure into that?
So there's a lot behind that question. So there are parts that are figured out. It's not about taking data and here's your data. It's about you will have ways to acquire data. Let's say you're a science vessel that is scanning a moon and getting data about that moon, or scanning a nebula, getting data about that. You will acquire that data through scanning. How you transport it, yes, it's kind of physical because you have your computers that are storing it. If power drops, you lose your data. So if you get attacked, so there's a risk there in transporting the data. And then how you pass it on, you either land and download the data in the station to whoever wants to buy it, or you transfer it to might be NPCs that want to meet with you in a shady corner of the universe so you transfer data to them. Might be a trap, might not. But yeah, so there are ways to transfer between ships, as we said before, and you will acquire it generally, but not always, from a distance. But you will not go like, I'm gathering data and I'm dumping it in this box. It's not. It's a bit more sophisticated than that. I mean, even now we still have a phone, we take a picture.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming to Cologne. Everybody, if we can get a round of applause for Sarah, John, and Dan. All right. They weren't that good. Dan and John are old hands, but this was Sarah's first one of these, and we made her do it live in front of people.
No pressure.
Yeah, but you did very well. All right, a couple quick announcements before we let you go. The Star Citizen Alpha 3.2 Free Fly is beginning this weekend. All backers will be able to fly the Avenger, the Mist Prospector, the Cutlass Black, and the Dragonfly absolutely free. Also, there's a MISC Prospector commercial contest that's going on right now. You can find all the details for that on the robertspaceindustriescom website. And you can join the Manhunt minigame for the Mercury Star Runner promotion. That is live now. So again, rules and how to participate in that is available up on the website. So for Dan, for John, for Sarah, and for myself, thank you for tuning in to our very first RTV Town Hall. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.